immensely spoiled by her father. Angad is laughing at me. He can see me right now. I already see that side, like the older sister side. Now we don't know what we're having, whether it's a boy or a girl, like whatever we have, she's just going to be so attentive. It was a very, very tough time for us, and 14 days being pregnant, being isolated with your child. My pillow was like literally taken away from me at that point. I had my mask on the whole day, and then I would sleep on the ground, staying away from Neha in a certain position because I'm pregnant, and I know that there are certain ways of sleeping at that point. And then she'd be like, "Mama, there's so much place on the bed. You sleep on the bed." And I would try and tell her that, listen, no, I can't base my life and my marriage and my pregnancies and my children depending on what people think of me. The body shaming post giving birth. I mean, we are mothers. That's our superpower. What's yours? Trolling us? Are you kidding me? Like, are you?
Oh, hi, Neha. How are you? Firstly,
Good.
I have to tell you before I even get started that you're glowing, and I'm so happy to finally see you, bhale virtually, but you're glowing, and I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you so much. So sweet of you.
First, big congratulations to you for your second pregnancy, of course. Firstly, tell me how was it when you first heard about it? Because obviously, I mean, it is a special moment and a special feeling, right? But when you and Angad got to know that you're going to be embracing parenthood for the second time, what was it? What was that day like?
It's so great, because we know how wonderful it is, and it's just all the joys and all the beats that we've lived with Meher has been so beautiful, and I feel like it's about like doubling that joy with another like beautiful life coming into the world. So we were very, very happy this time around. I feel a little more relaxed. I think that makes a very big difference, and especially in the midst of the pandemic, you always feel that, I mean, if this was my first pregnancy in the midst of the pandemic, I may have been a little more, on the edge, thinking what to do. So, but because I know what it takes or what all it takes into being pregnant. So, the one thing that I wasn't was paranoid. And I totally understand when women get to know that they're pregnant at this time and they want to be overly cautious. So I think we were treading mostly on caution. And then Meher keeps us so busy that you really don't have time to actually stop and think that, oh, now I don't want to do this because I'm pregnant. Or like, when the first time around, there were many times I would tell Angad that today I'm just going to be in bed for 6 hours and watch TV because I'm pregnant. So, and then I still remember he was doing double and triple shifts at that time because shootings were open everywhere. It was, 2018. And then a lot of times like he would go away and come back, and the hard parts were just like staying away from him. But now I feel like the hard part is just treading on caution. And then you also have one baby outside, one is going inside you. So you just want to make sure that you have all the time and energy for both of them. And this is like real training ground.
But tell me, how is it? I mean, I saw a video of yours, I mean, where Meher is also helping you with all the makeup, and she's just like, there. How is it to have her around while you're also, because you must be having your own mood swings for this pregnancy as well, right? So how are you managing and balancing?
Yeah. I mean to say that you're you get hormonal and you have your mood swings, and there are times when you want to like have literally from being absolutely fine to like, Angad is laughing at me. He can see me right now. Tum chup kar jao. From like, it's like yesterday in the morning, he was in the gym, I was in the gym, fractured his finger. And me, like on a normal day, I would be really concerned. I am really concerned. And I'm just like, meri help kaun karega? So, it's like, because he can't move his hand. And I'm like, what about my midnight bang? So, there are times when I see myself waking him up at like 3:34 and it's not an emergency call. It's just hunger. To then watching a movie like Mimi and just crying till 2 a.m, and he's just there for you. And then, of course, when you have your baby, you need to exercise a lot of patience because she also knows someone else is coming in, right? Yeah. She's also very, very excited, but we're very conscious about the fact that we don't want to split or don't want her to think that we're splitting the time and attention because or the love. Of course, the love is going to be for both of them as much. And I think attention is going to be there. But time-wise, I feel like Meher will need more time because the other one initially, we know that, second time around, they're going to be sleeping for 18 hours a day. So I want to make sure that we're there for Meher as much as we can. In fact, go out of our way to like spend more time with her.
I think that's a very difficult thread which parents work on, because to be very honest, as a sibling, I mean, I also have siblings, and I know that we always have this complaint that तुझे ज़्यादा time दिया है, तुझे कम time दिया है.
Yeah,
that's always.
We don't want that to happen, and I feel like, you know, a lot of people ask me, so what about Angad's paternal leave? Firstly, it's not something that I'm going to tell him that, hey, he has to be at home, because I know how to handle things right now. If he gets a project, great. But I feel like a large part of him being at home is going to be looking after Meher and being there for her, because, you know, I don't know how and when my delivery will go. The first 1 or 2 months are exhausting. Plus, I'll be breastfeeding. So, you know, my nights are going to be shorter. I'll be far more sleep deprived. I think his big role play, more than anything else, is going to be for her. And they're also very, very attached. And I feel like both of them are one unit. So it makes it, you know, we've kind of figured it all out.
But what were the kind of challenges that you faced in the first pregnancy, which you're making sure that this time around you're going to make sure that वो सारी चीजें नहीं करनी है, या वो सारी
I think it wasn't a challenge, but eating for two is a myth, is 100% myth. The over information is something that I don't want, because I feel like I'm going to be my own best reference point. So whatever the, you know, the feeding cycles and training the baby and all of that, and I feel a large help will be coming from, of course, my mother and our daughter, you know, because the things that she's learned, she's going to be actually teaching the baby. She's you know, a little over 2.5, a little under 3 is what she's going to be when, you know, our next baby comes in. So I feel like she's going to be a very, very important caretaker as well.
Yeah, I can imagine, you know, because I've seen.
And she's a very I don't know how to explain this, but you know, the biggest thing about her, she's such a girly girl. Like, you know, she's so girly. Like, you know, everything is so like, whether it's dressing up, whether it's the things that she likes, or whether, you know, I already see that side, like the older sister side. Now we don't know what we're having, whether it's a boy or a girl, like whatever we have, she's just going to be so attentive.
But I mean, also because you got the second pregnancy is happening at a time when all of us are in the midst of a pandemic, even now. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but you did get COVID around the same time as well, right? Like you were diagnosed.
Yes, all of us. I had a mild version of COVID, but I had a very, very large version of fear because, you know, just being isolated and staying away from everyone. And the thing is that when I got to know, it was the time when I also had isolated myself, because I thought everyone at home had it. So, you know, like from staff to my in-laws to husband, and I had Meher with me. So it was a very, very tough time for us. And, you know, 14 days being pregnant, being isolated with your child. And it was when the Delhi was speaking with cases, lack of, you know, it wasn't so much lack of medical facilities as much as you were like, you don't know where this is going, because every day you were hearing of cases, and it was very scary. Like I can't talk about it even now. And also not being able to have Angad next to me, because his you know, he was isolated somewhere else. I was isolated somewhere else, and he was very brave, because he was just like, you go and isolate with Meher. And at that time we all thought that I don't have it, but he was at home looking after his parents, our staff, himself, and
so much to do.
You just it's a lot. And then for him also, I would imagine him being anxious that, you know, he's not with his wife who's pregnant, or he's not with his daughter. So it was a lot for us to go through, but eventually all's well that ends well. We're here, we're talking, we're working on our antibodies.
When you hear of your close ones getting it, it's so scary. But to be in a position where you're pregnant while you also have COVID, and, you know, to not have people around you to pamper you or to handle your mood swings at that point, what kept you going during that time?
I think the pampering and mood swings are the least of your concerns. The biggest concern is health, and, you know, I had very little rest, because I was constantly with Meher, and she couldn't understand why she was isolated in a room. And to be able to be living with a 2.5-year-old or with a toddler inside one little room and, just doing activities, and you have to put up a very brave front, and, you have this beautiful being that's growing inside you. Your husband's away, because he's like, my pillar was like literally taken away from me at that point. But I think it was very hard for him also, because he was just like, holding fort. And I feel like sometimes when you're a little more further away from the situation, it's even harder, because, I know that there must have been times where he would have been like, if nothing else, just being with us. But he couldn't do that, because, it's the nature of the beast. You just can't be with people. And it was very hard just being able to keep strong, because there were times when I would just like, I was sleeping, I had my mask on the whole day, and then I would sleep on the ground, staying away from Neha in a certain position, because, I'm pregnant and I know that there are certain ways of sleeping at that point. And then she'd be like, Mama, there's so much place on the bed, you sleep on the bed. And I would try and tell her that, listen, no, like there's a reason why I don't even want to be close to her. So we were working on too much caution. We were working on a lot of fear, but then together we were very, very brave. And, it's like you wait up to the 8th day, and then after the 8th day, you start, looking at symptoms, and then they start slowing down, and, things are okay. And if fatigue is the only thing you're going through, and mild fever, then you're past most of it. And 2 weeks later, when I reunited with him, I was just like, oh my God, thank God.
Goodness,
I think that was the hardest part of being, or at least till now. I mean, I'm still in my 3rd trimester. I have some time to go. But apart from, the usual breathlessness, fatigue, hormones, backache, morning sickness, all of that, I think COVID was the hard part. Oof, yeah.
So I remember when your first pregnancy happened and when you had announced, of course, there were a lot of people. I remember I was so happy, because I was like, oh my God, this is such an exciting news and everything. But there was a lot of judgment that you had faced back then, Neha. This time around, of course, it's going to be different, because it is different in a lot of ways. But has things changed for you personally as well? I mean, do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, I never base my life on, people's judgment, honestly. And, it's up to them how they want to perceive me. I can do whatever I want in my life, and everything will be overlooked because of, something that they have or an idea of me, versus I could do one nice thing as to, stopping and literally getting off my car and giving someone a selfie, and that'll make someone's day, and then they'll bless me for the rest of their lives. So I don't know what it takes. I can't base my life on what other people think about me. But as long as my rules and my standards and my morals in my life don't hurt anyone, I think that, I'm okay living the life the way I am, or, the way I'd like to, so whether it's publicly, whether it's socially, whether it's with the press, whether it's people I work with, I never hurt anyone, or I'm never rude to anyone, or I'm never like, how do I say this? I'm never intentionally there to judge or be judged. But there are enough and more people out there who want to do it, so it's fine. I mean, I can't base my life and my marriage and my pregnancies and my children depending on what people think of me. And it really doesn't bother me. It's not even like if there was another statement that was even more lax than water off my back, it's probably that. मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
I remember we had a chat about body and body image issues and everything that had happened back then. But I remember a lot of people back then had trolled you, or there were people obviously.
You mean post pregnancy?
Yes. I remember. Are you prepared that it might happen this time? Because people on social media, while there is a good lot, there will always be these people, So are you mentally prepared that such kind of backlash might still come?
I don't care. I mean, I feel like I'm speaking for every mom out there who goes through body shaming post giving birth. I mean, we are mothers. That's our superpower. What's yours? Trolling us? Are you kidding me? Like, are there's just no comparison. And the thing about body positivity is that whether you're a mom or not, you just have to make sure that one is always in the right mindset and physically and mentally feeling healthy. After that, what your dimensions are not defined by anyone. I feel like this is the time. There's inclusivity all over the world. There are people who are walking down runways. There are, international lingerie brands that have, they choose the so-called thick over thin. So the world has changed. I mean, there's just, there's some person sitting somewhere else who's managed to get like 2 points of like free network and wants to get on your social media because they want to troll you. Not important. But yeah, I mean, what happens to me is when the way that I was attacked as far as my body shaming was not by a troll. It doesn't matter to me, not by people's opinions. But when a journalist who's a woman gives headlines about weight gain post-pregnancy, that's when they need to be checked. I'm sure that, I don't know where she is and who she is, but I'm sure that, just because you're sitting, running a portal, or doing something from home or working in your office, I respect who you are, but you have to respect who we are, so you can't do that, because these people are smart. They're employed because, and journalists are kind of doing what they do because they apply their brain. So, I mean,
exactly.
She missed that mandate, I think.
Lastly, before I let you go now, I want to know, how is Meher responding to the, because there must be a lot of excitement. She must be seeing your body change as well, right? So, बच्चों को तो questions होते ही है कि mom, what is happening?
She knows. So I have this big maternity pillow that I sleep on now, which is massive. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a C-shaped pillow. So that's her boat. And she's like, Mama sleeps in a boat and I'm going to sleep in a boat. And then sometimes when I can't get up or I can't turn, so she used to always have this, I used to put her to sleep on me. But now I can't take her because my stomach is big. And I'm just like, you can't sit here. She's like, no, but there's so much place now I can sit. I'm just like, no. But then I have to tell her that, the baby's inside and she's fully aware. And then sometimes when she goes somewhere, she gets a present and I was just like, she got like 2 finger paint boxes. So I said, you have 2 of the same things. What are you going to do with it? She's like, I'm going to save one for the baby and one for herself. So she's a good girl. She's a really sweet girl.
You brought her up very well, I would say. You and
I mean, we try and bring her up with, and that's what Angad and me both thought. It doesn't matter like what school she goes to and what she's like, and just has to have a great value system. But immensely, you can say this again, immensely spoiled by her father. Like, it's just, that's what I've learned. With our second baby, he's going to be like, there's always one good cop, bad cop. He's a good cop here. I'm going to turn that around and I'm going to be the good cop this time. And he can be the bad cop, which he'll never be. He's just like, I can't tell you, like, it's crazy. Just like, I can't tell you how much she can get away with when it comes to her father.
I can imagine.
So
it's cliche, but daughters usually are a little more closer to their dads.
And before we had her, because we didn't know what we were having, he would always tell my father, that's his father-in-law, but you really spoiled your daughter. She's so spoiled, and you really spoiled her. You don't say anything to her. And he's doing the exact same things he was warned my father about.
I can't wait for you two to embrace your second child, and I really want to know how this time around who is going to be the bad cop here.
I'm not going to be.
It will be Angad. But thank you so much. Wishing you and of course the entire family and lots of love and hearts and happiness.
Thank you.
And hopefully the second I will hear soon from you.
Yes.
Definitely, but
in a little while, not very soon, but in a little while you'll hear from us. These babies have a mind of their own.
Send my love to Meher and Angad as well, and wish
Thank you.
all the
They're both fast asleep. Thank you. Okay, bye.